Good morning.
Good morning. Great to see you in our webinar for also partners.
Yeah, so the topic for today is how to build a system to generate hundreds of leads for your cloud services or your products.
Yes, and we will start today by introducing our speakers. And first of all, I want to introduce gentleman on my left, Mr. Andres Yushchenko. Myself and Andres, we founded IBD Consulting 3 years ago, back in 2017, with the idea that digital marketing is indeed disruptive, extremely useful thing in B2B, and that we see a big opportunity there. Andres is extremely experienced in multiple corporations like Nokia, La Telecom. He has run multiple Microsoft Office 365 businesses, and he has been instrumental at launching Office 365 like what was it, like 8-9 years ago in some 25 countries in Europe. So I guess Andres might be some of the most knowledgeable persons regarding launching, marketing, cloud software as service products and similar things.
Thank you, Roland, for such a great introduction. So let me introduce also Roland. Roland Ozolinch is my business partner. As he already mentioned, we founded IBD Consulting a couple of years back. And he has a very valuable experience in different areas. First of all, he was managing Microsoft partners for many years, starting from distributors, CSPs, and helping them transform from being traditional distributors to selling cloud through the CSP model. Then he also was working in the solution sales, starting from enterprise customers up to educational institutions. So he has a lot of experience of solution sales, complex sales, and so on. Then he, after the Microsoft, he also worked for a few years in a startup area, and he managed to grow from zero to multi-million business in aerospace industry. So I think his experience is very valuable also for us today.
All right, but let's get to what exactly we are talking today. And today we will cover exactly the subjects that we offered, that we will be talking about. So we will start with, I think, laying foundations of what we are covering later today. And we will start with how B2B buyers are buying technology today and how to connect with them at large scale.
Yeah, it's also important that as soon as the opportunity is big, there are a lot of competition, and very critical is to understand how to stand out and how to become a natural choice of these potential customers.
Then we move to perhaps the central and most important, most exciting part of our webinar, where we will be talking how to build a system for lead generation, how to put together technologies, processes, what mistakes to avoid, and basically how to get a digital sales engine up and running and generating leads.
Yeah, and then of course it's important how to fuel in this engine, and we will talk where to find the content for your campaigns, what you can find from Microsoft or other vendors, what you can find and get from Also as your partner, and how to build the great campaigns based on these materials.
Then we will move to part which I hope will be helpful for many of you, and that is how to get your campaigns co-funded. And we know from our experience that quite often it is possible to get some marketing funding either from CSPs such as Also, from vendors such as Microsoft, and also different vendors. However, wait until we really cover the details of how to do it.
Yeah, and last but not least is how to start. What are the steps for you to take in order to really, implement this approach in very kind of practical manner?
All right, but let us start with discussing how B2B buyers are buying today, because it's extremely important. Because you see, the only way you can sell to somebody is the way they are ready to buy, not other way. Now, if we think about sales or purchase process, we usually think that sales is the channel. But if we look at a bit more details at how the purchasing happens or how complex this process is, then it's kind of crazy. Because you see, First of all, there's lots of people involved. Usually there are at least 4 or 5 people involved in purchasing decision.
Yes.
And process is also quite tense. It's quite political usually. People have doubts. They have fear. They don't want to appear incompetent. They're concerned. Will the solution work? What Gartner tells about it? What IDC? What perhaps Forrester? How to compare alternatives? Etc. etc. So really, it's not a pleasant process.
Absolutely.
And also because very often careers are online. Remember, there was a saying that nobody was ever fired for purchasing IBM, right? And people indeed they are quite concerned how this purchase decision, what kind of impact it will leave on their professional development, on their career. Will they or will they not let down their colleagues, and so on and so on. So this is quite a difficult and tricky thing. It's a minefield to navigate. And if we look at data that we have available, where buyers are spending their time, what actually they are doing, then we see it quite clearly that most time actually spent on research, on things like figuring out what exactly we need, how to buy it, what should be our requirements, what are others doing, etc., etc. And the thing is that actually, if we look at this purchase process in total, research takes 2.7 times more time than time spent with suppliers. So with suppliers, generally, only 17% of time is spent. However, if company is willing to talk with 2 or 3 suppliers, then each supplier gets even less time for discussion.
Yes, and for that, if you look to the overall process from today's perspective, we can definitely see that it's becoming more and more buyers driven. So today, buyer is starting long before he's getting in touch with the sellers or with the potential suppliers. So people going to the web, they start their research by simply, Googling for some particular problem or solution, how to solve that problem. They are going and turning to some communities. They are talking to their peers. They are talking to some professionals out there, and they are gathering information, as Roland already mentioned. So they are trying to build necessary insights and necessary knowledge for further kind of decision making, right? Then they're using different sources of information. They are reading blogs. They are sometimes turning to vendors for white paper or for solution brief. They're also attending webinars. They're willing to learn more about specific solution or watch a demo or something like that. And only then, when their decision is almost formed, they turning to the seller to discuss more specific details about pricing, about maybe licensing, and some other conditions. And the point here is that if you are not early enough in this process, together with your information, with your tools to help and to enable those potential buyers, there are very big chances that you will not be considered in the shortlist when it comes to the decision.
Yes, and the tricky thing here is that actually, if you don't close the deal, we lost the deal. But in terms of digital marketing or in terms of how buyers are buying today, you will never learn about the deals that you are actually missing. Yes. So if you don't have a content, if you are not registering your website visitors for downloading the content, you have no idea that actually there was a deal which you missed. And particularly if you look at expanding in international markets. So one thing that you should really think about is how to help your buyers find information, how to explain your point of view, how to explain the problems they have to solve, and so on.
Yeah, and there is such a thing like a buyer journey. It's a process, like a virtual process. When any of us, when we need something, we go through. Right, and there are different stages in this process, and on the slide now you can see like very simplified picture of this or visualization of this process, and it always starts with understanding my problem, right? Whether I have a problem, and then what I need to do to solve that problem.
Yes, and it's incredibly important to pay attention to this first step. Because you see, unless customer truly believes that they are in trouble, we have a problem, or we have so huge opportunity we don't want to miss, or we have so massive risk, they will not do anything. So first step always is just to make sure that your prospective buyers are aware of what is there for them. And only then you can take them actually to next step, which is interest. And only then they will start to thinking, okay, but actually how do I solve the problem?
Yeah, exactly. So they will look for the different solutions. And at this stage, they also more willing to understand, in big terms, okay, what are the directions for me? What it means to solve that type of problem, how others solving this type of problem, what are the vendors, what I need to consider, and so on and so forth. So it's still also quite early to start selling at this stage because customers are not, or potential customers are not ready to buy yet. So they're educating, and that is what they are looking for.
Yes, and the third step is actually consideration. When people are more concerned about the risks, about the costs, about the consequences which may happen if they make this decision. So, and at each stage there are some typical marketing content or good marketing content to use to help buyers understand, get information and move ahead. Like for awareness, typically what is used? Things like blogs, ebooks, white papers, industry analyst reports. For interest, when people are really interested, then things like expert opinions, product comparisons, webinars like today, case studies, etc. And when they come to consideration, then they are very interested to learn what are others doing. They're interested in things like customer testimonials, like some product tests, detailed cost calculations. Like for many companies which have physical premises, a killing thing is to have customers visit, let's say, a factory, right? So that you can actually see, experience how the product is made, and so on.
Yeah. So just to sum up on this part, right? It is really important that you think through this buyer journey of your potential customers. You have to align your marketings and sales activities according to the way how buyers are buying today.
Yes, and it's, again, I want to stress how important it is to do actually a formal buyer journey planning. Like there are many templates how to do it, but the important thing is process, because what you need, as Andrei said, you need to have sales in the room, you need to have perhaps support in the room who are talking with customers all the day. It's beneficial if you have management in the room, because then you can really think about this buyer's journey, think about marketing content you need, think about what are the questions you need to answer, and so on.
Yeah, and better you understand that process, more valuable you can become to your potential customers, right?
And another thing, do not rush to sell. So often we see, companies having such temptation to put a price tag on their offers as the first thing. That is wrong. Nobody is asking you for a price as the first step. Think about, if you're buying a complex solution, it's like what? It's like, marriage, perhaps.
Yes. It's, it's super important really not to rush to sell. You need to enable your potential buyers. You need to provide them necessary insights. You need to empower them for internal discussions. Help them with information so that they can use in their kind of decision-making process.
Yes, remember that purchase process is real difficult, and your role, first of all, is to help out your buyers, make the process easy for them, convince them, provide this white paper, case study, calculation, whatever they need.
Yes.
And another thing, when planning any digital marketing activities or buyer's journey, consider the length of purchase cycle. It's actually not uncommon that purchase cycle is months, perhaps years, perhaps even as much as 3-4 years. So you cannot expect people to pay for your solution like in 2 weeks after you launch campaign.
Yeah, of course, it very much depends. There are some products and some solutions which are very transactional focused, right? But if you think of, buying a security solution or implementing an ERP or CRM, it's definitely, a matter of months, if not even longer, and that should be really taken into consideration. Okay, let's move on. By the way, we have Q&A available for you. Please feel free to ask your questions by, submitting them, and then we will be answering them during the process or in the end.
Yes. So next topic is how exactly to stand out in marketplace, how to be visible, and how to become, very logical, like a natural choice for your prospective customers.
Yeah. And this is probably not a very new topic for you, as Microsoft also is promoting it very, very, promptly and for a long time already. It is super important for you to understand how do you position yourself on the marketplace. And there are different ways how you can do that. And one of the most successful ways of doing that, and that is what proved to be successful for many Microsoft partners as well, is specialization. So there are different ways, again, how you can specialize. You can specialize on specific technologies or specialize on specific industries, or you can specialize even on specific verticals.
Yes, and try to think of way to stand out as Venn diagram, and try to think what should be this cross section of those rings. What makes you really, really unique? Because you don't need to make happy all the customers in market. You need to really make happy your small niche of customers. And it is our own experience as well,
Yes.
that specialization and becoming real specialists and experts in some kind of narrow market allows you to much, much easier to market and sell your services in international markets.
Yeah. And imagine as well, like a whole market. There are a lot of companies like yours doing similar things, right? And if you become generalist, you are basically facing hundreds, if not thousands, of similar companies offering the same. And then it's super hard to compete. And very often what we see that this competition goes down to the pricing. So whether I am offering better price than my neighbor, right? And if you are specializing, it's a completely different story. So you're turning the conversation not to from the price to actually the competency, what you can offer, and to the becoming a valuable business partner to your customers.
Yes, exactly right. And you see, buyers first of all prefer specialists. And once you are positioned as specialist, there are many problems go away.
Yes.
Suddenly, it's not a problem that you are, let's say, in Latvia or Finland or in Ukraine, right? And that you don't speak local language of your customers, or maybe your software doesn't have local language interface, because your solution, your expertise, your level of specialization is so important that basically it gives you a license to be considered, be seen as a specialist, be listened to, and also it allows to charge, I would say, higher pricing,
Yes.
pricing as well.
Okay, so
how to communicate this specialization, or how to prove that you are an expert? And here I think the key message is that online you are basically what your content is.
yes.
It's basically equal thing. The only way how your prospects can experience you is through your content.
Exactly, and that is again referring to this buyer journey. That is where all starts. People are not searching by names, except if you are super, well positioned, very strong global brand, like for instance Microsoft, right, or maybe other vendors out there. Then obviously they have very strong awareness on the market, and people are searching for their specific solutions as well. But if you are, managed service provider, or if you have own solution, then either you need to invest a lot into your branding, which is also something needs to be done, or you have to own certain topics. You have to really become kind of somebody who provides valuable insight, valuable information when people search for that.
Yes, and again, it depends how you define the industry. But sometimes if you define your industry or your market narrowly enough, we see that quite often there is opportunity to do things like really own the industry. Be somebody who does, let's say, customer survey and produces annual state of industry reports. Or write the first white paper which talks about specifically, let's say, fish processing equipment manufacturers.
Yes.
Right? Exotic industry, not big, but very often you can really own that part of the marketplace. And a couple of more points regarding content. First of all, you really need to think about producing high quality original content, because it serves not only purpose of purely informing your customers, but it also builds trust. It creates your brand. It's basically talks. It does talking for you, and probably you want this talking to be of a high quality, original content, well researched, based on data, etc., etc. So.
Yeah, again, just to stress out again on the quality of the content, we often see that there are some kind of blog posts or some ebooks or similar content offered, and this is very often too generic. So it's like stays on the high level, explaining the same what is already explained in many thousands of other forms and so on. So customers not getting anything new from that. So when you're creating a content, it's super important to really think, okay, but what is the unique value add my content will provide to my potential customers?
Yes, and look what happens if you really have a quality new original content. It works like magic. So here are some quotes from one of our customers. We were running with them campaign with rather complex, expensive solution in rather large market. And what they say, so what happens when their sales is follow-upping with prospects who have signed up for the white paper? So what they are saying that, well, generally we are suddenly getting really high quality leads. They can get directly to decision maker. They have their mobile phone number, right? When they reach them, they really have a quality conversations. Mm-hmm. Of course, it's not always that buyers are ready to buy right away, but sellers really have their attention. They have their trust. They already have high reputation even before the first call or first meeting. Mm-hmm. Call success rate goes up. Also, motivation of sales team goes out because suddenly they are not forced to do cold calls to people who don't know about them, but they call really people who suddenly really respect the company. And again, you will not always win on the first call. Actually, you will probably never win on the first call, but you get seat at the table, you are respected, and for your sellers it becomes much easier to close the deals.
Okay, so then to sum up on this part of our story, first of all, it is really important to understand who your buyers are, by role, by demographic, but many other criteria. And again, don't consider that there is only one person you need to target. You need to consider targeting at least 3 or maybe even 5. Depends on the market, of course, you are. But definitely those are multiple persons to be approached.
Yes, try to really do a bit of detective work, a bit of profiling. Mm-hmm. Try to set up buyers' person profiles. Include things like demographics, their likely objectives, where they get information, what is their role in organization, what are their concerns, what they see as opportunities, what kind of media they consume.
Yeah.
And it allows to target and sharpen your campaign, your strategy, your messaging really in big way. And the best, of course, here is to conduct phone interviews with
exactly.
prospects.
That is the best way, because you hearing us probably now, you think, oh my gosh, I need to kind of sit and spend hours and hours, creating those buyers personas and so on and so on. The easiest way is really just call a couple of your customers, understand, ask them questions, understand what they think, what they talk, and so on. And based on that, you will already have very good insights for your marketing activity.
Yes, and usually those kind of interviews are incredibly revealing. Even we have had cases that our customers have positioned their product in one category, but actually if you ask their customers, they see them being in completely different category. And this is something that really I don't think there would be any better way to learn than just doing interviews.
Yeah. And then based on that, you should prepare your content plan and content itself, and try to avoid being, very generic and trying to target with one size fits all type of approach. You really need to kind of distinguish between, technical roles and business roles, finance and operation manager, or anyone else in the organization who are critical for your solution to be approved.
Yes, and competition for attention is just, massive. So therefore, you have to target this content very, very specifically to that specific person. Otherwise, it just doesn't work. Because, again, competition is just, too high.
Yeah. So now we are at the stage where we gonna dig deeper into how to build a system to deliver all that, what we just talked, to your customers.
Yes. So, generally, if we talk about solutions, the biggest problem is actually to find who your customers are. And content works like magic, because what does it do? It allows you to identify exactly who are the persons who are interested in the problem your solution helps to solve. Because you see, I don't know anyone who would just out of entertainment, let's say, read white paper about, insider threats or about
migrating to Azure, your SQL server.
Yes, exactly. And people who elect themselves to sign up and download this kind of materials, they are kind of very clearly signaling, hey, I'm here and I'm interested in exactly that kind of topic. And another thing which happens is actually that because you have this content and you are exchanging this white paper or webinar or online assessment for customer information, you are getting profile data. Things like name, surname, role, email, company name, industry, perhaps some other questions. And this allows you really to figure out who is this person. Is it likely to be your customer? Or maybe it's just a student who are indeed spending some time learning about migration to Azure just out of academic interest.
Yeah. And then by using different tools and including marketing automation and behavior tracking, you can enhance this data with behavior data. You can understand what actually this person was, how he or she was interacting with your content, whether the content you was sharing with them was relevant, whether they read it, whether they watched it, how long they stayed in the webinar, and so on and so forth, whether they visited your product page, how many times they did visit, and did they use the calculator. All these signals actually can be then used to understand the quality of the lead and actually the maturity of the lead.
Yes, and basically you put those things together and you can suddenly make decision, an actually automated decision. Is this person a good marketing qualified lead? Does it make sense to either forward it to sales so that sales team can do a follow-up, or perhaps it's still time to continue nurturing this person. All right, and let's now talk a bit about nurturing.
Yeah. Again, looking at the total market opportunity, probably, let's say, 100%. What we see, and this is also confirmed by many research done and studies and so on, that there are only 5% out there from the total pie of the market who are in the phase of consideration and phase of the active research of the solution. So, and the competition for this 5% is very, very high. And as we already mentioned, so if you were not with these potential customers from the very beginning, gaining their trust, providing them insights and building a connection, trusted connection, it's very unlikely that you will be actually considered in the final stage. But at the same time, there are 95% of others.
Yes, are you going to throw them out? No, that would be colossal waste. And the things that you need to do, you need to think really about how to nurture those contacts. And you see, you have already paid and invested in marketing content and advertising to get their contacts, to get them registered. So now you need really to nurture them, you need to educate them, you need to help them. And the way you do it is with sending them additional content, things like, I don't know, case study, industry reports, invitations to webinar, how to advise, blogs.
Yeah, in
etc.
general, you need to keep communicating with them. You have
Yes.
to stay on top of their mind and be patient. So you really need to kind of continue providing them anything what can be considered as a valuable information for them. And then at the point where they will become more ready, they will be definitely turning to you because you were part of their kind of daily communication, daily information flow.
Yes, so basically what you want to do, exactly as Andrei said, you want to stay on top of their head until the moment when either they have a budget or they have team alignment or something else, so that when they are ready to buy, they will turn to you.
Good. So, and then it all comes to the building a proper processes and proper system to handle all these activities.
Yes, and you know, here we now are moving into subject of marketing technologies, which is actually incredibly important. And my opinion is that actually you cannot really scale your business or even grow it fast enough if you are not using marketing technologies. And what's the reason for that? Again, we looked at like only 5% from all the people would be ready to have sales conversation.
Mm-hmm.
To have those 5%, or let's say have 5 deals, you need 100 in your pipeline. If you want to grow, probably this number quickly increases to hundreds and thousands. And the only way you can handle these hundreds and thousands of relationships is with help of marketing technologies and specifically marketing automation.
Yes, and also as we said, you need to kind of understand and read all these signals from the people. Otherwise, you will not be able to identify this potential lead at right time.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and if we talk just a bit about marketing stack, well, what does it mean? I would say that companies probably first of all they would need some kind of landing page form technology. They would need marketing automation. They would need integrate those technologies together.
Mm-hmm.
Then incredibly important, and we will talk about it in some of the following slides, is analytics, pipeline view, single view dashboards, and many other things that just helps selling.
Yeah, it might sound scary on one hand, but it's not. So there are plenty of technologies available on the market. There are companies like yours and many others offering SaaS-based marketing technologies, and this is really super helpful. Same time, it's also important to understand what out of all of these technologies are best for you. And we have gone through quite a journey in this for this matter, and we have kind of our own stack created, not developed by us, but we have technologies what help us to implement this system in very affordable and very quick manner.
Yes, at the moment we are actually running almost a farm of landing pages. I think we have around 200 for our customers. So again, incredibly important, but this can be done, even despite it sounds a bit scary. Now let's take a look at some kind of information or analytics that marketing technologies help you to obtain. Again, here we have blurred out, of course, the specific names and deals of and deals in the pipeline. But this is a look that you get or that we are providing our customers in their marketing automation.
Yeah, and again, so it has been always quite a challenge to understand what the outcome of all your marketing efforts, including investments, time you spend, and so on. And that's the beauty of the system. If you build the system, you're immediately getting a transparent picture. You can see, okay, if I invested 1,000 euro into my marketing, what I'm getting back. So you can see how many deals you have in certain stages, how they are progressing, and then you actually can measure very precisely your ROI.
Yes, and this kind of view is even available, on mobile devices. You can have your chief executive having ability at any point of time just pick up mobile phone and check how the marketing pipeline looks like, how many prospects there are, how many leads, how many marketing qualified leads, sales qualified leads, and so on.
But most importantly, it also enables you for a completely different level of discussion within your own organization. So you have usually marketing and separately sales. Now you have you kind of have an opportunity, have a joint effort and one single point of truth throughout the whole journey. You can see what is happening on the side of marketing responsibilities. At the same time, you can also have a discussion with sales. Hey guys, if you have these leads, why they are not progressing, or why they are progressing so slow, how we can help, what needs to be kind of improved to increase quality of the prospects we are generating, and so on and so forth. So it really enables for a completely new level of the marketing and sales management.
Yes, and I think that analytics actually and the tools we are showing and one on the next slide, these are really like a super power tools for marketing, because suddenly I think for the first time in history of B2B sales, you can actually show exactly what's the value of marketing, what's the value of marketing investment, how much the lead costs, how much we are spending every day or every week on which channel of that we are using, let's say on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and so on.
Yeah, this example is just showing you, let's say, management dashboard where you can consolidate together information from different sources, because obviously there are already existing reports from Google, from Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever else. But it's time consuming to consolidate them, and obviously also salespeople are not having access to them and so on. So this type of dashboard simplifies the decision-making process a lot. So management immediately can see what is going on. So how effective are our marketing efforts? How much do we pay for that? And what we are getting, and how do we progressing? So for instance, you can see here like both the customer journey. So we see where customer starts, how many of them moving to the next stage, and so on and so on. Same time from the pipeline perspective, we clearly see how many leads we managed to generate for the certain budget, how much one lead costs for us. And then we also see how this pipeline is progressing.
Yes, absolutely. Now let's talk a bit about what is really required for your campaigns to be successful. And this can be summarized in a very simple sentence, that success equals system plus discipline. So we talked already quite a lot about the system, about strategy, about content, about automation. We just covered analytics. Let's discuss a bit things that are related to optimization and sales management. One thing I want to stress here is really that all these elements must work together. And if just one of them is not performing, it pulls down performance of everything else. So it's a system, and each element must support each other. And if each element, if content is good, if automation is in order, if there's transparency and analytics, optimization, sales management, etc., then you are getting really very optimized, very strong campaign performance. However, what happens if, let's say, analytics is faulty?
Yeah.
So the reports we were showing are not available. So what happens is that actually, nobody really knows what's going on, and optimization is really impossible because you don't know what to optimize.
Yeah, you cannot make informed and fast decisions.
Yeah, and as a result, your costs are very high. And LinkedIn and Google and Facebook is making money on you, but you are not getting leads, you are not getting sales, so your money is unfortunately,
wasted. Not used wise. Yeah.
Yes. All right.
Yeah. So just an example of the optimization, and today, as we all are in a certain way, representing IT industry, which is very progressive. We always hear machine learning, artificial intelligence, and so on and so forth. And here is also like an example how all that enters a marketing space. And today we in our practice are leveraging machine learning tools a lot. We definitely cannot know what exactly will work 100%. We of course have some experience based on our previous campaigns and so on and so forth. But nevertheless, every time we run a campaign, we learn something. and every time we see customers behaving differently. So therefore, in order to get a maximized return from your activities, you have to experiment. You have to experiment continuously. And just this example on the screen, what you have seen, is illustrating how much you can improve conversion rate of your landing page if you implement different versions of these landing pages. And in this particular example, we experimented just with one part of the landing page. In one case, we used just a static landing page where we had explanatory copy of text, explaining customers about what they can find and what needs to be done. And in another case, we actually implemented a video instead. And we saw that initially, the video case or video-based page took over. So people start really to engage with this page better. But then, in some point of time, we saw that people switched from that to a static page. And we managed to increase quite significantly the conversion rate by 30% all up, based on these experiments. This is again just an illustration how much this open-minded approach and agile approach to the marketing matters for your ROI.
Yes, and again, just before we go, I want to stress that machine learning is helping immensely. And we have seen like campaigns where we experiment with 7, 8 different versions of ads, different visuals, different messages, static video, etc. We have seen that actually top performing ad is performing 70 times better than lowest performing. And just think, if you run campaign with just a single ad and it happens to be the lowest performing, you're not getting results at all. And Facebook and LinkedIn are getting rich and you get nothing, right? So it's extremely important to experiment. Machine learning helps immensely with landing pages, with ads, also with marketing automation. However, it doesn't replace good old human expert who should look after what's happening basically all the time. Like, I wouldn't trust my money to machine learning. No way.
Okay, let's move on. Again, just to summarize so we have some slight delay. Just to sum up, it is very important to have both marketing and sales working hand to hand. But at the same time, you need to have a complete picture to make fast and right decisions. So therefore, making a pipeline and single view dashboard must be in place. It's just, something like you should not even consider not having.
Yes, and whatever you do, you actually want and you must to have like a review weekly and no less than bi-weekly, because things change all the time and you also need to hear back from sales what's the quality of leads, maybe quality of content, maybe you need to change something.
Yeah, this feedback loop is very, very critical for your campaign performance and it should be in place on regular basis.
Yes, then we already talked about it, I think, 1 or 2 times already, but I just want to stress it again, how it is important to have really close, constructive marketing and sales collaboration. So you need to have a shared pipeline, you need to have your own internal reviews, think about optimization, and it works best if, founder, owner, general manager is heavily involved and looks after process and makes it very clear that this is really important, these things need to be done with due diligence every week, and that also brings great business results.
Yeah, another very important aspect of this process is one clear single definition of what we understand by lead. So that we have all the same expectations around the table, we all know what we are going after. And how do we do that? We very often face situation that people have a different understanding of what leads means. Marketing understand leads in one way, sales expect something different, and then this misalignment and unmet expectations created, right?
Yes, so whatever the definition is, it must be agreed. Otherwise, sales will complain that you are giving them bad leads and it doesn't make sense. Marketing from other hand will defend themselves that these are qualified leads, etc. So it needs to be agreed.
Secondly, it is also very important that you have a system to follow up, because we also see quite often, I would say, that marketing, even together with sales, do a lot of work to generate those leads, to kind of fill in the pipeline, and then nothing happens. So there are week after week, these people just standing and waiting for somebody to call them and to talk to them and so on. And there should be some process, whether of telemarketing or telesales, or just people from the sales organization calling those and following up with those leads, so that to invite them for the meeting or to invite them for the demo session or anything what you have as part of your pre-sales process.
Yes, and quite frankly, it's surprising that it happens still from time to time that some clients with whom we are working, they are happy to invest in lead generation campaign, we are executing everything, and for some reason they haven't thought about follow-up. I don't know, are they in doubts that it will work or something, but we have tens of leads coming in every day, and basically there's sometimes nobody to follow up.
But when that has been changed, then we see a dramatic increase in the quality, in the real number of opportunities, and then wins as a result.
Yes. Absolutely. So now we are approaching second part of our webinar, couple of short parts, and let's start where to get content for your campaigns. Original content is good, but sometimes there's possibility to get it from somebody who's providing the content.
Yeah, and obviously you probably, being a Microsoft partner, are familiar with the Microsoft Partner Network, so we just give you a couple of examples of what type of resources can be found on that particular source. A lot of information currently being shared, and some of that can be really used as is. Some of them need some adaptation and adjustments, but nevertheless, this is a good source to start with.
Yes, absolutely. And Microsoft basically provides this content for partners to be used, and they are happy if it's used. However, always approach a bit critically. Think of how this content is relevant exactly to your niche or to your customers. Will they like it? Will it leave good impression? And so on. Because first of all, you want to build trust, you want to build brand, you want to be recognized as leader yourself. So you need to watch out. Maybe some materials are maybe more written for let's say from perspective or for market of United States and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Another good source of information, and here's a screenshot of a local page for Latvia. That is the latest thing that our partner Also Group launched, and that is their learning and information hub. So what they have done, they have basically put in one place all the information that you may need about Microsoft, so that you don't need to spend time, searching different portals for different things. They have also put here market-ready materials. So many of these materials, if you are also partner, you can use. And quite honestly, we have worked with also to develop quite a bit of those materials that you can use.
Yeah, and this is just an example of our compilation of some of materials what you can get potentially from Also. There are different, social media assets like teaser videos, social banners, infographics, and many others, just to get the attention of people and acquire those leads. And then you have also some templates for landing pages, some content like in form of ebook, assessments, and many others. And then also reach out emails, so what you can send out to your customer database. Can be very, very handy.
Yes, so if you are in Microsoft business, if you're partnering in Also, you are lucky, because chances are you can get your marketing content ready faster, cheaper, and can launch your campaign with much less effort than would be required on your own.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, right. So now it's also important, when you have understood who are your customers, when you have considered building, and you know already how you will implement your system, where to get funds.
Yes, where to get money, how to get somebody else paying for your marketing campaign. And here's a view of a channel with the vendor on the left, CSP or distributor in between, then partners, and then customers on the right. So, if you look at the channel, what motivates vendors? Vendors are motivated by internal priorities, business growth, and also innovation. This is first of all, they want to keep their vendor happy. Second thing, obviously, they want to grow their business. And third thing, they are also looking for some innovative ways to generate demand, do something new, do something fresh. Now, and if we look at how these people are thinking about marketing investment, well, first of all, they care. I mean, they want to look good.
Yes.
Right? They want to have a plan which is realistic, innovative, so that they can also stand out internally in company with some innovative idea. They want it to be aligned with their priorities. And one more thing which we see is very important for them is really to have a sense of how it's going, basically to have insight and sense of control. And the dashboards we showed earlier, that's actually some of the best way to keep your sponsor, vendor, distributor happy and calm and knowing of what exactly is going on.
Yeah, and of course you need to come with some realistic plan, right? And that, just to give you an example, also was recent a case when one local partner turned to us and we worked together on building actually the strategy, go-to-market strategy for their new kind of offering. We put together like a plan, and then we together also presented this plan to the Microsoft and to the CSP. And guess what? So this plan got approved and got funded. And now this partner is already getting leads from campaign being run.
Yes. So key thing here is to prepare a plan, and the key question here is your solution pulling through other products? And if it is, there's a good chance you can get co-funding, and it happens perhaps more frequently than you would think.
Good. So now we are, almost finalizing our story today, and last thing what we would like to kind of discuss is how to start. What are the steps to take?
Yes, and if we look at a very simple way of how the process looks like, or what you really need to do to implement digital sales engine to start lead generation, is first of all you need to start with strategy, with things that we talked about in the second part of webinar about how to stand out, how to position your product, decide about target markets, buyers, etc. Then you can proceed at doing basically two things at the same time, because both of them takes time. It's developing marketing content and it's implementing marketing technology. Then you launch.
Yes, and then all funny things starts.
Yes,
So,
yes. Don't make mistake assuming that once you launch you can, just sit back, relax, and watch your scorecard going up. This happens as well, but it happens only if you invest in analytics, in continuous optimization, continuous improvement, and so on. So you get your results not by getting to launch, but with what you do after the launch.
yeah, as we already discussed in the previous part, so you need to continuously gather insights through your sales or telemarketing or any other channels on what is happening with your campaign, how customers feel about the content you provide, activities you do, and then continue optimizing. There is no other way how to make it really working well.
Yes. Now let's discuss, what we could possibly do for you. You see, we've been in this business for over 3 years. We have run dozens of campaigns all across the world, and I think we can help you implement these things quite quickly, quite well. So what if you go this way without us? So you have, I think it's fair to say, quite lengthy, complex project ahead of you. Quite possibly you need to either hire new people or retrain them. So basically you need new skills, mostly quantitative skills regarding testing, optimization, etc. You require new technologies. They need to be selected, researched, tested, integrated. There's quite significant risks of failure, right?
Yeah, the most important is actually time to market.
Yeah.
So you can implement anything, and that is what many companies trying to achieve as well. But think of time. how much it costs for you and what is happening outside on the market as well. And that is probably the biggest value what we usually bring to our customers, besides all the competencies, technologies, skills, and anything like that. It's significantly decreased time to market.
Yes, and now if we contrast that without IBD with IBD, then actually we have everything ready to go. We can launch campaign in as little as 3 to 6 weeks. We have done dozens of campaigns all across the world. So we are now really using a proven best practice. So we are not starting from testing, trials, etc. We know exactly how it should work, how it must be set up, etc. We have ready to go technology stack. Again, full transparency. Right, you get scorecards about every dollar spent on ads, exact details about pipeline, about leads, etc. Then we do end-to-end service. We perhaps didn't mention about that too much, but we are also exceptionally good at producing marketing content, white papers, ebooks, videos, animations, online assessments, basically you name it. And I think important thing is that at the end of the day, it turns out, most customers for our service pay less than they would pay for a junior full-time marketing associate.
Yeah, and so this is very much in line with the overall cloud business and services approach business.
Marketing as a service.
Yeah. So that is the business model we are using, and that we see many customers appreciating a lot. And we also, therefore have kind of packaged economy scale-based approach where we can deliver you certain services in very short time, as Roland already mentioned, and on at very affordable costs. You can see just on the screen a few examples of those package services what we provide. And in case you would be interested, we definitely are open to discuss in more details. But what it shows you, basically, if you are just about considering start doing something in the digital space, so you have maybe some few steps already done, and you need help to kind of establish a better processes, a better way of doing that. So then the start package would be for you, and that's definitely step to go with. If you're already doing something and you have tried and you would like to grow and scale your activities, then the grow package is exactly for you. So we can build a system what we just explained you during the webinar, and then start generating on ongoing basis number of leads every month, so that your sales team getting them, they have leads to work with, and you are getting your pipeline growing. And then if you are already a pretty mature company and you are looking for ways how to scale your activities, how to really gain a mindset or mind share of your potential customers, how to become a thought leader in a specific space, in specific industry or niche, the scale package is exactly for you, because in this package we have very advanced sets of content pieces, technologies, and the process itself to really grow you to the level of the leader in certain market segment.
Yes, I hope by now you are really excited about the opportunity that you have with digital marketing and how well it works. So now we have a really dead serious proposal for you. I think it would be very worth for you to avoid making, expensive mistakes. So what we offer is free 60 minutes call with Andres and myself present. And from your side, we would like to have marketing, sales, and management representatives on call. And this would be 1 hour of really serious strategy and visioning growth hacking call. To sign up, contact us on the email you see on the screen.
Yeah.
And
yeah, there is no obligation. So we're just here for you to share our insights and experience. Many customers or companies with whom we did such kind of calls already, they were very grateful because they learn a lot on how to make things even better what they do today. So use this opportunity if you are interested. Again, no obligations. Just send us an email and we will set up a meeting with you directly.
Yes. So I guess that's about it for today. So the official part of the webinar is over. Thank you to all participants. Thank you also to those who will be watching this webinar in recording. As we are running out of time, the official part is over. Let us take a look if we have any questions coming in.
Doesn't seem so.
Yes.
But anyway, so please feel free to reach out through different channels, either directly by email or on LinkedIn. Anyhow else, you can even call us by phone if you like. And let's take your questions directly. Otherwise, we wish you a great rest of the day and hopefully talk to you very soon.
Yes, and stay safe. Stay safe.